So welcome back to the channel, to another video and to the MK5 Golf GTI. And as the title suggests, this car is broken already. We haven't even got it on the road yet.
And do you know what? I'm actually pretty annoyed at myself that I didn't see this one coming, because now that I think about it, it is actually quite obvious. And not only was the broken part of this edition 30 something that should have been obvious, the other thing that I thought would be obvious was that you guys that are watching this video would be subscribed to this channel, but most of you aren't. And so before we get into the video, I just want to really encourage you to click that subscribe button, join me on the journeys with the Golf GTI and all the other cars on the channel. It is literally free and it helps out so much. So please just go click it. But if you are brand new here and you haven't subscribed and you don't know what this is, then this is my latest project. It is of course a MK5 Golf GTI edition 30, which is a little bit different to your standard Mark 5. Take a look at this. So if you have been following the series so far, you will know that obviously this GTI at the moment has got no MOT, and that has been what we've been sort of working towards in the last couple of episodes. And I know after the cinematics, I can see you writing in the comments already, get it cleaned. Well, trust me, if you saw my surroundings and where I lived, cleaning this is the least of my worries. The first thing I want to do is get an MOT on it. So the things that we've done so far are obviously sort out the headlights. Headlights didn't work at all. We've put some new number plates on. It didn't have a good battery, so we've replaced the battery. And then the most obvious one is obviously get the wheels refurbed. Went for OEM silver as per your guys' vote, and then we've obviously got the Michelin Pilot Sport 5s on there already. So in theory that should have passed an MOT. But little old me went down absolutely chuffed to bits with my new car, thinking that it was going to pass absolutely no questions asked, and it didn't. And here's why. And so for some reason, I thought when I took this car for MOT, I thought it was going to pass with absolute flying colours, completely neglecting the fact that the CV boots are rubber, which is exactly why we replaced the tyres. They were degraded. So behind the wheel here, what you've got basically is a drive axle. Now that is what actually drives the wheel. That's what basically converts the power from the engine through the gearbox and into the wheel, makes your wheel go around. Now at the end of your drive shaft, you've got what's called a CV joint. Now the CV joint means that your wheel can be going up and down, and it means that that drive shaft has got a little bit of pivot in it like that. And you could argue that it is a very important part of keeping this car on the road. And what made it even worse was that I'd only just had the wheels refurbed. The old wheels, when I took them off, had absolutely no CV grease on, and that is usually a telltale sign that your CV boots have gone. I put the new wheels on, drove it to the MOT, and they split on the way. And so you can imagine just how disappointed I was when I got the car back and it had failed. All that work for nothing. But in the UK, if you can get the car repaired within 10 days, you can get a free retest. So, as you can imagine, we've got some work to do. Now, I do want to keep this car as long as possible because, in my opinion, I don't think there's a better car for the money. If you think there is a better car for the money, drop a comment down below in the comment section and let me know. But I have already touched on the fact I do want to do track days in this. I do want to drive it over to Nürburgring, and to be honest, I really want to make sure that every single job is done to the absolute best of my ability and using the best parts. So this entire thing is going to be done with OEM VW parts. And with that being said, I wanted to waste no time in getting this thing fixed. Like I said, 10 days and you get a free retest. So I was straight down to VW, got 2 genuine CV boot kits, a tub of grease, and all the other little bits to do this job, like your drive shaft bolts, etc. And you guessed it, I'm going to be giving it a go myself. So there's only one thing left to do, and that is get this car up in the air and see if we can fix this, get the car MOT, and get it back on the road. Here we go. So just a heads up, before you do start this job and put the car in the air, make sure you are breaking that drive shaft nut off while the car is still on the floor, just to make the next part much easier. Once you've done this, obviously you can take the wheel off and remove the drive shaft nut completely, get underneath, and there's a further 3 nuts that just need removing. This is basically going to drop that lower control arm and just mean that you can pull the hub off the drive shaft completely. They might take a little bit of hammering, but it should come free. Once that's free, use a specialist knocking tool. Just give that drive shaft a couple of little taps and you should be able to pull the entire suspension leg off that drive shaft. As you can see here, I am just using a ratchet strap just to keep it out the way so it doesn't get in the way of the job. Now that all that's out of the way, we just need to get the old CV boot off. I recommend just using a screwdriver or a pair of side cutters, cut the clips and then use a Stanley knife just to cut the rest of the rubber boot off like I'm doing here. Once that rubber boot's off, it's time to actually knock the CV knuckle off. Now, if you hold on to the splined part of the knuckle and just give it a few taps of the hammer, it should come off. After that, give it a clean up. There is a circlip and also 2 washers that you need to pull off. Okay, so we're halfway through, bit of a mess, but everything is off. We're down to the bare axle. Obviously, we've still got the CV joint there and we've got the new boot kit here. So I just wanted to make sure that if you're doing this job yourself, you know exactly what to look for. So if you look on there, that is your part number, this 6R number, and this is what you get in it. It's obviously a genuine VW part, so you get the boot, and this is what else you get with it. Just get them out. So you have to get the big circlip, smaller circlip, and then you get both new washers and also this little retaining pin as well. So that is what you will get in the set. You don't get any grease, so you will also need to go out and buy yourself some sort of CV grease like that as well. I just wanted to stop there and make sure that you knew exactly what you would get in one of these kits if you get it genuine from VW for an Edition 30. So if you are doing this job yourself, I hope that helps, and yeah, I'll get back to the job. So a little bit of fresh grease and you should be able to slide over the CV boot and obviously the smallest circlip. Get these tightened up. You're just aiming for the CV boot not to shift around too much. It is quite hard to do it while you're on the ground, but just give it your best shot. After this, you want to make sure that you're putting your washers in. You put the thinnest one on first and then the thicker one with the rounded edge. Pack it up with grease and then you can start looking towards putting the actual knuckle back on. Make sure it's straight and lined up, and then you just give it a few taps and it should squeeze over the circlip. Do it at a slight angle if it doesn't go on the first time, and you will know that you've got it on because you won't be able to pull it back off again. Once the large circlip is back on and secured, pull your suspension leg over the drive shaft, tighten up your drive shaft bolt, tighten up your lower control arms, wheel back on, and you are done. And there we go, the first side is done, and to be honest, this was a job that I was really dreading, and it turned out to actually be quite manageable with the right tools. The only thing I really did struggle with was the circlip pliers. Oh my god, they are actually so hard to get the clip around the boot tight, but we'll come back to that. I think it might be easier from underneath the car, so when it goes into the workshop I will just make sure that somebody nips those up. But yeah, overall, quite a manageable job, and one that, to be honest, I'm fairly happy that I've given it a go myself, because it definitely means that in the future I won't be sort of just as worried to do it. So yeah, job well done. Now I will just blitz through the second side. You don't need to see it all again, and then once the car is back on the ground and we're all sorted, hopefully we can go and get a retest and get this car back on the road finally. So we'll get the second side done and I will see you in a minute. So second side, as always, caused me a little bit more trouble. It was much harder to get some of the bolts off. We did actually snap a few bits, which we'll be touching on in a future video. But yeah, I just tried to crack on. By the time I'd finished this side, it was just starting to get dark. So yeah, it was a bit of a long and boring process this side, but we got it done, and that is all that matters. Right, let's try and get this car an MOT. Day 2. And we have done it. The Golf has eventually got a full MOT with not a single advisory. How mint is that? 18 months off the road and we haven't got a single advisory. So, time to enjoy it. And there we go, look how good it looks sat there with a fresh 12 months ticket on. The work that we've put in already, and to be honest, that was a very manageable job. So if you do need to do that job, I do recommend doing it yourself. It's not too bad, and as always, I would only ever recommend genuine parts because they always fit first time. And so I just can't wait to get out and about in this car, take it to a few meetups and just see what else we're going to need to do, because no doubt there is going to be issues that crop up here and there. No car's perfect, but hopefully give us a little bit of time and this one will be. So please make sure you are giving this video a massive thumbs up for the work completed on the Golf GTI Edition 30, and hopefully that is going to be the start of getting this car back to its former glory. I can't wait to do some track days in this. I can't wait to just drive it full stop. So smash that like button, make sure you are subscribed to the channel to follow all the other adventures on this car and the others, and thank you very much for watching. Until next time, peace.